Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Vision Pros Live. I'm your host and coach, Fletcher Ellingson. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad that you're in this conversation. Why? Because in these podcasts, we get to meet people from all over the world who are doing inspiring things, who are doing motivating things, who are going for their vision, who are making a difference. And you may be in the same industry that they're in. And what I love about the people that we interview is they're showing what's possible. They're making it easier for us to bring our vision into the world because they're clearing a path and they're sharing their expertise, their wisdom, the mistakes they've made. They're sharing all their insights so that um, we can do it also, but hopefully it'll be even a little easier with their wisdom. Today on the show, we're meeting with Amy Friesen, and she is uh, up in Canada, I believe. Yes. Yes.
Yep.
And she is from the organization called Tea and Toast. You can visit her online at amyfriesen.com. Welcome to the show.
Thanks very much for having me. I'm excited to chat.
Yeah. So this is a new industry for me. I haven't met anybody in this industry on that I've interviewed. So I'm going to be asking some real elementary questions that will likely be a good thing because I think there's probably a lot of people who are not familiar with the industry that you're in, which is elder care. Is that accurate?
That's it. There's a lot of people that know nothing about me, so let's inform them.
Okay, let's do it. But before we get to that, I always like to start out with a win. I want to ask you what's going well in your life personally and or professionally. But there's a lot of suffering and uncertainty in the world right now. And I'd like to remind people that what's what's going well is always available. What's not going well is always available. It's a matter of where we put our focus. It's a practice of putting our focus on what's going well. So what is going well for you, Amy?
I would tell you that I'm fortunate and there's lots of things going well. And one of the things that really is going well for myself and my team for Tea and Toast is that, we are really jiving as a team. It's incredible to work with. We're all women, a group of women who communicate as well, who really just enjoy each other, both professionally and in friendship. And when I created Tea and Toast, that's what I was aiming for. Really, that's what I wanted. It's a tough industry out there, and so I just wanted to cocoon a couple of people and do a really good job for people, and that's been really wonderful lately.
Right on. So you have you've realized the outcome that you set out to create, it sounds like. That's
Yes,
really cool.
yeah, that's been great.
Yeah. So and I just realized this phrase tea and toast. Um it I thought when we said it just now, it sounded like tea and toes, but I wanted to clarify for our listeners, it's tea and toast. It's a very Canadian British thing, right? Tea and toast. Um, and that's a big hit in our household as well. But what before we get to your vision, tell me how you came up with that name, Tea and Toast.
I would tell you naming a business is not for the faint at heart. It's incredibly a process. But to your point, tea and toast is a double meaning, right? So either people are really warm and cuddly because of tea and toast. It gives them really good feelings. However, for the people that are maybe eating that for more than 1 or 2 meals a day and consistently, it's a nutrition issue. So if you're an adult child and you're seeing that, it's a red flag. But if you're the senior that's doing it, it's still a little bit of a comfy, cozy name, a little bit of an opener for us, really.
Got it. Yeah, yeah. There's some level of relatability in that for a lot of people, right?
Yeah, I didn't expect so, but I expected that the relatability was there. But what I didn't expect is there's a lot of people that literally say, we chose you because of your name, which is just
Oh, really?
the best thing for me. Yeah, it's great.
Oh, well, that's neat. That's always good feedback to get. Cool.
Yeah.
So, tea and toast, and we know that you're in the elder care industry, but what I want to know, and this show is called Vision Pro, so we're always curious, what are people's visions? So I'm asking you, Amy, what is your vision?
Well, my vision is quite large for an industry that's in its infancy, right? So we are a brand new industry in elder care and elder care planning. And so my vision is to bring education and information and direction to families across Canada, across the world, really. I mean, we work across the world. So, really to take the stress level down, because all of us, the lucky ones anyway, that we're going to be living through to elder care, and we all need to do all the stuff like planning and figuring out all of these pieces, and everybody's scared of it. It's kind of like talking to a funeral director, right? Everybody's like, no, I don't want to die. And so we're not talking about death, but we're talking about like, let's plan, let's make it work for you in the way you want to work it. And the number one barrier there is like, let's educate, let's take down those walls and open the lines of communication.
Yeah. So good. And I want to highlight something you said. It can be an uncomfortable and kind of scary topic
It's terrifying.
for people, right? I mean, because we're talking
Mhm.
about because it's a conversation that forces us to talk about the fact that you're kind of on your last chapter here. Um, that there is an end to this game. I mean, when we're in our 20s, 30s, and even 40s, we're like, oh yeah, I'm going. I think I'm probably going to elude death, you know. But then we get closer and closer and realize, oh, we're
Mhm.
not, and things start happening with the body
Yeah.
that we weren't planning on. Things start happening with our memory, so it can be a frightening, disappointing, and frankly upsetting conversation. But what I liked about what you said on your website is like you are the person that's willing to have those conversations.
I have awkward, upsetting conversations all day long, right? I mean, that's what we do. We bring light, we shine lights into the dark places, and not for dark reasons, really, because we want to give people choice. And so when people are aging and they've got all these things that pile up, right? Needing wills and powers of attorney, and where do I live and what care do I need? A lot of people like to stick their head in the sand because it's scary and it's daunting and it's just overwhelming. But those people, unfortunately, are the ones that are not making a plan, and then they don't actually get what they want. And so,
Mm.
really, by educating people in this space, that's the same reason I put my book out as well, is that I just want to get education to people where they're at to start those, what can be really awkward conversations so that people have choice.
Oh yeah. Okay. So again, I gotta recap what you said. I really want our listeners to hear this. Okay. So number one, and I love the descriptor you used. This is accurate because I said sad or disappointing or fearful, which it can be those things. But the descriptor you use, the adjective you use, much more appropriate. This is an awkward conversation. I'm used to having all kinds of conversations in my day-to-day life. I'm very practiced at talking about what we're having for dinner or where we're going or work. Ooh, to talk about this, I might it might be a really clumsy and awkward conversation. I may not have the language. I may not have thought through, and I may not articulate myself well. So yeah, awkward. That totally is a fitting descriptor. And then you said something that I really want our listeners to hear as well. You said we tend to stick our head in the sand, and instead of talking about it, we avoid it, and then we don't get what we want.
Mhm.
This should be a motivator for people who are really needing to think about this. Do you want to get to that place? Do you want to arrive at that place and suddenly you're like, "Jeez,
Yeah.
this is not what I wanted. This doesn't feel good. It's not what I envisioned." So what I'm hearing you saying is now is the time to like really become proactive and have these awkward conversations.
Yeah, most of the time, the people that I call my ostriches, when I say, "What's your plan?" And starting to kind of broach that a little bit, their plan is to, and quote unquote, go out feet first. And so I say, that is a plan, but there's so many things like right before that, right? There's all this trajectory that people aren't planning for, that will change that plan. Unless you're one of the lucky ones and it just goes like that and you're done for, right?
Yeah.
There is going to be other things that are going to take place. And because you didn't plan, you will have less and less choice. But to be honest, all of our healthcare system, a lot of our systems in general are very reactive, not
Mm.
proactive. And so elder care planning is all about being proactive. So you have choices. So you're set up properly because there's a lot of stuff to deal with.
Yeah, there really is. There's a lot of it. My mom passed in 2000, end of 2017. Yes, there was a lot to take care of before and after. My stepdad is also, he's 87 or 88. Uh, he and I have talk fairly regularly about wills, power of attorney, healthcare, about his options and plans. So we have, where's the will, where's the key to the safety deposit box. I mean, we have a lot of these things, and like, yeah, and worst case scenarios, like how, do not resuscitate, things like that.
Mhm.
So I really appreciate what you're saying.
I,
Um,
I would tell you though, just so, I mean, for what it's worth, you're one of the very few. And like, kudos, because that's not how, like, all the families, like, there's not a lot of families that are as proactive as that.
mm.
And it's going to make a difference. It's going to make a difference in his and your life.
Yeah, thanks for saying that. Yeah, and I will say that some of these lots of these conversations have been awkward.
They're kind of sucky. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not, yeah, it's not, yeah, they're not the funnest conversation, but I am glad that we've had them, because I do want a plan of action. I do want, like, oh, this happened, so I look at our plan, like, oh, so I go to this plan of
Yeah.
execution. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, if people want to connect with you, if they're like,
Mhm.
geez, you know what, I really need to like start looking at this stuff. Tell me a little bit about the process. First of all, tell us where we go to connect with you, and what can a person expect when they make that phone call or send that email to you?
Sure. Yeah. So you can connect with me at amyfriesen.com, and then on there are connections to everywhere else. So if someone was local, I'm in Ottawa and Ontario. If someone was local, then they would go to the Tea and Toast connection. Or if they're national, they would go to the Elder Care Planners of Canada. So that's the hub. Everything is there. And really, what we want to do when we connect with people is we want to know more. We want to learn about what is happening. Why is now the time that they're calling?
Mm,
What are their hopes? What do they want to see in the future? How much do they want to plan? All of
mm,
this type of stuff to really get a baseline of who that person is, who else needs to be involved, and then start
mhm.
to pick away at which pieces are more important or pertinent, right? There's often an order of things when someone says, this is all the stuff I'm dealing with, or this is all the stuff that I think is upcoming.
Yeah.
Then, as an elder care planner, we can say, okay, this one really needs some attention right now. Let's start there, and then we'll work out from there. And so it can be for anything. It can be for planning. It can be for knowing their options in retirement living and long-term care, how to stay safe at home, so many different things. But the courage really does come in just picking up the phone or writing the email, because a lot of people, to our point earlier, aren't even that far.
Yeah. I got another question for you. Let's say somebody is listening to this right now and they're thinking, gosh, this is important. But at what age do I initiate this phone call? When is the appropriate time to call Amy and like start getting curious?
I would tell you that, we work with seniors at the moment, like 80
Mhm.
plus, right? And so we're working with their adult children. And those adult children, as we're making plans for their loved one, are making plans for themselves. And
Yes.
so I would say, I'm in my 40s. I have wills, POAs, all sorts of things in line, right? Which are all the kind of the bare minimum stuff that we should all kind of be working towards. And so a conversation is never too early. It's just what you work on at that point, right? You can still make a plan. To your point, if this, then that, you can still make those plans, and there's still some direction based on what is happening in their life, how old they are, what their trajectory is. There's some people that have had, for instance, dementia in their family, and they've seen a loved one go through it, and that person only lived to be X amount of years old, right? And so they're coming up on it. Is it too early to plan? Maybe not, because they have seen what's coming before them, and all we can do is best guess, right? In healthcare, is it running in the family and all that stuff. So I think that it's never too early. I think there's always something that you can make sure is in line.
Yeah. And so my next question, kind of similar to that, is who's calling? Is it the senior citizen that's calling, or is it the children who are calling? And can the children call without the permission of the parent? If they're like, hey, how do I navigate this? Can you answer that for me?
Yeah, so most often it's the caregiver calling. That could be a senior spouse. It could be a senior themselves if they're independent or whatnot. And most often it's a female adult child. I mean, we also get male adult children as well, but the primary person is often that. And they call because they either have had a loved one say, I need help with this. Please help me find it. And so they call us, and we work it out. Or they're in caregiver burnout. They're overwhelmed. They don't know where to go. They find us and they call us and say, what do I do as a caregiver? Where do I go? How do I approach this conversation with my loved one? Can you come in and help and talk to them? And so,
Yeah.
of course, before we go in, we get permission, all that stuff. But it's two different ways, right? It's really like, can you help us or can you help them, right? And it's trying to figure out what the situation is.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. And I in my mind, I totally wasn't even considering the caregiver. For some reason, I was just thinking about the children. Maybe that's because that's the position I'm in my current life. And when you say caregiver, I'm just clarifying for our audience. When you say caregiver, you mean like the spouse who has been caregiving up to a point, and now they're at a point where, like, either I can't do this, it's too much, I'm burnt out, or I need to really be prepared for what's next. Is that accurate?
I mean, yes, but I mean anyone. So often, there's a spouse involved and they're the caregiver, but they also have a caregiver. So it's like a caregiver row. There's
Got it.
always kind of, generally always there's a support structure that goes out like a web almost. And so the caregivers are often the children, the adult children, and if it's not them, then it's a niece or it's a sister or something.
Got it.
And then the rare cases, it's just the senior, it's them, there's nobody else, and so then we're helping just them directly and working towards that. And the spouses often kind of get stuck because if the spouse is a caregiver, then they're often more independent, right? They maybe don't want to do a move. They might not want care in the home, things like that. And so it's a bit harder to get them on the phone with us. It's usually coming through an adult child because they see their mother, for instance, burning out. And they're like, can you please talk to her and give her some experience, information and whatnot, so that she can see that there's other ways that this can go out. So we do get calls from the spouses as caregivers, but often it comes through the web of the adult children.
Got it. Thanks for clarifying that. Also, for our audience who's listening, I really want to hit on something that's very important, because you mentioned that a lot of the people that are involved in this are overwhelmed, or they feel burnt out, or they feel a high level of uncertainty. So I'm setting you up for the good news now for our listeners to tell me, what have you seen your clients experience emotionally as a result of taking time to make that call and have a conversation with you?
I'll give you an example. I had a client the other day that was going to come on with us, and her mom was in hospital. And the way that long-term care works here and a lot of places, it's just very, very complicated. And so she wrote us an email and she said, actually, they're going right to long-term care. We don't need your service. Thanks very much. And we said, okay, no problem. And then I got a call from her and she was crying and she was saying, I got the wrong information from the hospital. I didn't understand what they said, and this can't happen. And I need to do this. And I just need my mom out. And she was just beside herself, and rightly so. And I would say that, when you call someone like myself and my team, we're going to put all those pieces together and we're going to do it very quickly, and we're going to do it on your behalf. We're going to connect all the dots for you and show you a full picture instead of having this spotty piecework, because there's nothing more overwhelming than thinking you have an answer for a loved one that's in crisis and then finding out you don't have the answer. And then you're back from square one, right? And then some of these adult children as well are still working. Some of them are in sandwich generation. They're still raising kids. They're having awkward conversations of birds and bees and elder care. They got enough to do, right? Taking on elder care planning is a whole other job. And so we just bring it all together. We speak the same language as the hospital, as the retirement home, a long-term care, all of it. And so we can bring it and we can package it for them and customize it right for them.
Yeah. And so I'm imagining that how people feel as a result of that is major relief, right?
Very, very much. They feel, some of the reviews that come in, right? Basically, I couldn't have done this alone, right? And it's like, I don't know how I found you, but thank God I did, right? It's one of those things that it's like the relief that comes from not having to do it on their own, not trying to compare options with a field of information you don't know, right?
Yes.
It's just that overwhelming piece makes people not do anything, and then it gets people into trouble more because they've stalled the process. Meanwhile, the person that needs the service is possibly getting more ill and more ill. Mm-hmm. And so as that happens, then they have to bring in more service. And it just becomes this overwhelming mess of things.
Yeah.
And so we keep the bus going, right? We keep them moving forward.
Yeah, I like that. If you're listening to this and you're beginning to that dimmer light is beginning to glow, more boldly, pick up the phone, go to your email, go to her website, and just have a discovery call. Because we do not want to get caught in that level of overwhelm and uncertainty. We do not want to, because really you're just putting yourself and the people involved in a position of more suffering. You're going to amplify the suffering that's already going on. You can begin to turn down that suffering by getting into communication, hiring these professionals who already know what moves need to be made. They are going to help you take the guesswork out of it, and what they're going to ultimately do, and this is what all humans want, is they want a sense of certainty. They want to know what's going to happen next. And to me, that's what it sounds like you guys really provide, is a plan of this is what's going to be happening, and you have buy-in on it. And for me, I always want that in my life, right? Personally, I always want to know what's going to happen, and I always want buy-in for things that affect my life. So,
well, and healthcare can be very uncertain. It is uncertain all the time. So to your point about making kind of like plan A, and then here's a plan B in case, and then if everything else fails, I got your phone number and they can call us, right? And also to your viewers as well and your listeners is that if you're not in our area, there's most likely an elder care planner in your area that we can connect you with. I make it a point to reach out to other elder care planners, specifically in the US and Canada, through my network of people to connect, because we just need a soft transfer for this person so that they can at least get into their zone, because all the healthcare systems between provinces and states and everything, right? Countries, they're all different. So you need someone local, but we can most likely point you there.
Nice. Really good information. Again, I told you, like, I did not know much about this industry. You've made it very understandable, and certainly stressed the importance of being proactive. Thanks for your time today, Amy. I wish you all the best and look forward to having you back in a bit and finding out more. We'll dive into some more maybe stories about so people can relate even more. And any last words before we wrap up?
I just want to tell everybody a reminder that they're not alone, right? We're
Mm,
all doing it. You just need to open the communication.
yeah, yeah, very good. My guest today is Amy Friesen, and you can go to amyfriesen.com. She has the company called Tea and Toast. It's all about preparing for those final chapters in your life. So if you want more information, if you've heard something that sparked an idea or curiosity, reach out to her. And now it's time for you all to get out there. Be a source of kindness. Be a source of contribution. You do have something to offer this world, and I believe in you.
Thank you for being here today. I'm really happy that you tuned in to Vision Pros Live. I'm looking forward to seeing your reactions as these episodes continue to move forward. This is going to get more and more fun. We'll have more and more engagement as well. We'll invite people to participate in the show. And thank you for giving us your time and attention. Have an excellent time building out your vision and becoming a Vision Pro yourself.